All right, so I am on a mission, and that mission is to solve every FRQ from the past 10 years in APCSA. It's a lofty goal, but I believe I can do it, and I know you can do it too. Do it in terms of doing well on the APCSA exam, and that's what these videos are for. This is FRQ number 2. And what I'm going to do is just show you my stream of consciousness thoughts for how I break down FRQ. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. All right, number 2. The book class is used to store information about a book. A partial book class definition is shown. Okay, so so it's got a title, it's got a price, it's got this constructor, and it's got the title of the book, and then book info, okay? All right, there's other instance variables, constructors, and methods. There may be other instance variables, constructors, and methods that are not shown. Okay, and you will write a class textbook, which is a subclass of book. Okay, so that already is a flag to me that I'm going to have to write that keyword extends, because a textbook is a specific type of book. Okay, a textbook has an edition number. Boom, that tells me another instance variable, which is a positive integer, okay, used to identify different versions of the book. The getBookInfo method, when called on a textbook, returns a string that also includes the edition information as shown in the example. Okay, so I'm going to have to write this getBookInfo method. I'm going to have to create this instance variable edition and getBookInfo. Okay, I'm going to have to summon the details from the book version of the getBookInfo method, okay? Information about the book title and price must be maintained in the book class. Information about the edition must be maintained in the textbook class. Okay, this is all important for information. The textbook also contains an additional method, can substitute for, which returns true if a textbook is a valid substitute for another textbook, and returns false otherwise. Okay, so it's around this time where there's lots of details, and I can't hold it all in my short-term memory, so I have to just start writing and kind of checking off the list as I go through. So I know, first off, I can get 1 point by just doing this. Public class, well, not just this, public class textbook, okay? And, write my curly braces. And what I'm going to do here is also write the constructor. Public, oh wait, I almost forgot something really important. I have to say public class textbook extends book. Okay, and I think that even that piece, that actually might give me one whole point. I also need to go ahead and start writing my instance variables. Private int, this was a positive integer addition, okay? And I know that there's some other methods. Public, I need to go back. What was it called? String getBookInfo. It returns a string. Okay. String getBookInfo. Okay. This is going to override the methods written in the book class, but I am going to need to take advantage of the parents version of this getBookInfo. In fact, I feel like I know what I want to write for this, but I'm not going to do it just yet because I want you to see my process. And here I kind of interrupted my thought here, and I didn't go ahead and write my constructor. So let me go ahead and do that. Public textbook and right. So a textbook. I'm gonna say int e for edition. And in order to make sure that the other instance variables, the instance variable for the title and the price, in order to make sure that the textbook still gets a title and price, I still have to take in a parameter for that. So let's do int t for title and int p for price. Oh wait, no, that's not the right data type for title. String t for title and string what data type is price? I'm assuming that is a double, but let's just go back. Price is a double, and title is a string. And okay, so I'm going to say double P for price. Good. Okay, so I need to write this constructor. I will do that. I will come back to it. I'm just trying to go ahead and make my outline here. Okay, so so let's do the other piece right here. Okay, so the textbook class contains an additional method it can substitute for, which returns true if a textbook is a valid substitute for another textbook, and returns false otherwise. Okay. It says write the complete text. I'm kind of skipping around here. I just want you to see I just want to kind of get an idea of what's happening. So I haven't finished reading through this whole prompt, but what I'm trying to do is it returns true or false, so I know it's going to return Boolean. Can substitute for, and I think that the parameter was a textbook. Which returns true if a textbook is a valid substitute for another textbook. So what I'm kind of doing is I know what the basic pieces of a class are, right? I know it's going to have instance variables. I know it's going to have constructor. I know if it's going to have methods, and I know it's going to have this public class name, and then if it's a subclass, extends. So what I'm trying to do is kind of just like get the shell of my method, the outer shell of my methods and my constructor, my instance variables, and then go back and fill in the details. So that way I don't get bogged down with all the information, okay? In my mind, whenever I work through these problems, I already have like a template in my mind. I know my instance variables come up here first, so I'm looking for anything that tells me about the instance variables. I know I need a constructor, so I'm going to go ahead and use the basic information I've been given to write the constructor. I knew that I needed parameters for an addition, a title, and a price, because I know that the parent class has a title and a price, and we need some place to go ahead and provide a place where the title and the price can be input. And then I need the addition. Okay. Right. Okay. So let me just double check, because I actually don't know if I need these additional parameters, but this chart, that helpful chart that's provided down here, is going to be helpful. Oh, okay. Yes, I do need these additional parameters, because it says, oh, so the string comes first, so I need to change my order. And then it looks like this is probably the price, and then this last one is the addition. So I actually need to switch the order of my parameters to make sure that it matches up. So the title comes first, then the price, and then int e. Let's go ahead and see if I can actually go ahead and create the addition. Right? Notice I actually didn't even read this part right here. Well, I kind of did. I just double checked that this value right here was for the price, and that's true, and that this value right here is for the addition, and the only string I have is for the title. So okay, so this is how I know what the header of my constructor should look like, because it tells me the data types that should go in between the parentheses: string, double, and int. And so now I'm looking back, and I know I need string, double, and int, and I wrote an abbreviated name for each of these. So it already told me beforehand, the prompt, that the book class is going to take care of the two instance variables, the price and the title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the super constructor, and I'm going to say T for the title and P for the price. It's important that I make sure that I put the arguments in the same order as the parameters. So let's go back. Oops. Okay, yep. String comes first, then the price and the parent. So I have to make sure that when I call the super constructor, the string comes first, which is T, and then the price, the double. Okay, so now I can go ahead and do what I normally would do, and I would say set addition to be equal to E. Woohoo! Done. I'm done with my constructor. And you know, really, this already is probably going to give me a good 3 or 4 points. Probably a point for here. Point for here, making my constructor, making sure that I call the super constructor, and set the instance variables to the parameter, and then writing the headers of my method. So yeah, woohoo, it's looking pretty good. Okay, right? And that chart was so helpful. Let me see if I can go ahead and use the chart to my advantage. So for get book info, what am I doing? For get book info, what am I supposed to be returning? Let's see if it gives me. Okay, get edition. Ooh, whoa. One thing I didn't even realize is that I also need an addition method, which they didn't tell me that I needed an addition method specifically, but I can see it right here. It says the addition is returned. So, whoa, that's why I have to pay attention to this chart, because it gives me some other information. Okay, so I can go ahead and easily write that get addition method. So I'm going to say public int, and I know it's int because addition is an int, get addition. And also when I look at the chart, it returns an int. Ooh, it's looking good. So, okay, int. So I can just say return int. This, again, is probably going to give me another point just by doing this piece right here. Return addition. Ooh, sorry. Some formatting issues come up when I'm trying to do this on a Google Doc. Again, normally you're going to write this on paper. Okay, so public string get book info. Okay, so I remember in the prompts, let's see, get book info. Okay, so what it does is it takes the title dash the price dash the edition, the formatted string containing the title, price, and edition. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I can kind of infer, but I just want to make sure. So, okay, and so what I need to do is I need to use the super method to the super keyword to grab the parents version of get book info, because get book info for the parents version of the method returns the title and price. So all I need to do is tack on the addition. So I can do something like this. Okay, return, okay, addition, which is a string. Wait, no, it's not a string. So let's do it this way. What I'm gonna do is put these little quotes so I can get this concatenated as a string. So return these quotes plus addition plus a little dash plus super dot get book info. And if I've got this right, what this should do is it should concatenate this empty string with the addition. So that will turn it into a string. Wait a second, I made a mistake. Because if I look back at this, the title comes first, then the price, then the addition comes last. So I don't even need to do this stuff right here. All I need to do is call super.getBookInfo plus this little dash plus the addition. And I believe that should give me the correct concatenation. So if I go back and notice I'm having to do a lot of like referring back to this text, same thing you would have to do to answer some multiple choice questions on some sort of like AP, I imagine, literature or lang test where you have to go back, read the passage, get a good understanding of what's happening. It's the same idea here. Aha, the dash is already included in the parents version of get book info. So yeah, really all I have to do is tack on my little dash and then the addition. Okay, good. Phew. Now all I need to do is this last piece. Okay, can substitute for. And my goal with all of these problems is to give myself like the last 7 minutes to review what I've written. Right now, this seems like it's taking me less time than those 7 minutes, but less time than the normal time that it usually takes me to solve a problem. But I am going to keep on going because usually there's some sort of hidden secret that I didn't think about. Like there's some sort of trick that APCSA the College Board loves to throw in and that I didn't think of. Okay, so this is the juiciest method, can substitute. This is going to return true. Oh, first off, I know that can substitute for takes in a textbook as parameter because Bio 2015 is a textbook object. So I need to make sure that in my method, I put textbook right here. Okay, now I'm going back. Okay, let's scroll back and look. Okay. Whew. The textbook class contains an additional method can substitute for, which returns true if the textbook is a valid substitute for another textbook and returns false otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do, and I'm going to say I'm going to create a boolean because this return value is a boolean, I'm going to create a boolean, and I'm going to call it result, and I'm just going to go ahead and set it to be false. I might find out later on that false is not a good initial starting value for this variable that I'm going to return, but that's what I'm going to just do for right now. This is going to remind me that it's going to remind me that ultimately what I'm trying to do is create a boolean value, or update this boolean value to return in the end. True or false, that's all I want. Okay, so I'm going through here. Okay. You're starting to see my own process for how I solve these problems. Okay. If it's a valid substitute, returns true. If it's not a valid substitute, return false. The current textbook is a valid substitute for the textbook referenced by the parameter. So this is showing me how we're going to return true. Referenced by the parameter of the can substitute for method. If the two textbook objects, this is the meat of what I'm looking for, have the same title, and if the addition of the current textbook is greater than or equal to the addition of the parameter. So they have to have the same title, boom, and the addition has to be greater than or equal to the addition of the parameter. Okay, so those two criteria. So what I'm going to do is I could actually create some separate variables here, and I could say same boolean, same title. I don't need to do this. I could do this all in one big if statement, but I feel like otherwise it's going to be a long if statement with a long boolean expression. So I'm just going to go ahead and create two different variables. One variable that stores whether or not the title is the same, and one variable that stores whether or not the addition is higher. Okay, so let's do this. So one, to check to see if the title is the same. Okay, so if other book dot, and is there a method? I'm trying to figure out if there's a method that allows me to grab the title. Yes, there is. So I'm going to say if other book dot get title. Equals, I'm going to say dot equals. So what this is going to do is it's going to grab the other book, grab its title, and check to say if it's the same as this dot get title. And here I'm pausing here. This is where my knowledge is being strained a little bit, because I can't remember if I need to write this or super. I believe I need to write this here instead of super, because I use the super keyword if there's two conflicting methods that have the same name. But if I just say this dot get title, that's okay, because it's going to reference, there's only one version of get title, and that's in the parent class. So I can say this dot get title, or I could just say get title, and it'll know that I'm talking about the current textbook that is calling this method. Okay, whew. Okay, so that's one thing down. Okay, so first, checking to see if they have the same title. Good. I've got about 3 minutes. No, 3 minutes? 4 minutes. 3.5. It's about that amount of time. Okay. And then I need to check to see if the addition is, let me go back. If the two textbook objects have the same title, and if the addition of the current textbook, as opposed to the textbook referenced by the parameter, is greater than or equal to the addition of the parameter. Okay? Okay, let me see. Valid addition. That's what I'm going to call this one. Okay. I'm going to return true if get addition. Yep, I definitely needed to write that method. Otherwise, I can't do this. Well, I could say addition. If get addition is greater than or equal to, if get addition returns a number that is greater than or equal to other book dot get addition. Okay, good. So then it makes my life easier, because now I just say this in my if statement. If same title and valid addition, then I can go ahead and return, well, I can just update result and say result gets true. There we go. Otherwise, it's going to return false. Yes. All right. And I think that that is it. Woohoo! That leaves me about 2.5 minutes to go ahead and look. So let me just go through and do my check. So whenever I'm doing my check, the best thing to do for the check is to use the sample inputs that they've given me and make sure that that works. So textbook. So can I create a textbook with the name biology, a price of $49.75, and an addition of 2? Does my program allow me to do that? Yes, I've got a constructor that takes in a string first, the price, and then the addition. I use the string and the price to call the parent constructor, which goes ahead and initializes the title and the price of the textbook, which extends from the book class. And I've got the addition being set to this E parameter. Okay, so that looks good. It looks like this is okay. Same thing idea with here. Okay, now get addition. Does that return 3 for Bio 2019? It should. Okay, because this addition parameter is being set. This addition instance variable is being set by the E parameter, is being set to be the same as the E parameter. And then I go through, and addition should return the addition, and it should return an integer. So yes, if the addition was 3, then it's going to return 3. Okay, that looks good. Okay, can substitute for. Now this is the one that I feel like is going to be the trickiest one. I've got about 60 seconds. Let's try to pick one that's going to be, or let's try to see if I can pick 2 really quickly. Can substitute for bio. Let's see, 2019 has a higher edition and they have the same title. So according to mine, it would look like, yes, that should return true. The titles are the same and the edition of 2019 is greater than 2015. So the result becomes true and we return the result. Good. But then we can't substitute for calculus because their titles are not the same. So yeah, that should return false. But also this should return false in the case that we compare 2015 with 2019 because the addition of 2015 is not greater than or equal to this. So this returns false. Okay, so it looks like we're all set. Whew, that was a really quick stream of consciousness. But here, hopefully you're getting the idea that as I've gone through this program, to create this class, I had to continuously look back at the instructions. And sometimes it can feel like biting off more than you can chew. If you try to like digest it all at one time, it's not going to work. Usually what you're going to do is you can have this template in your mind of what a class looks like. And you go through and you do a first read and you can easily grab your instance variables, the headers of your methods, and then the header of your constructor. Then on a second read, you go back and you can complete one method. On a third read, you can complete a third method and a fourth method. So I have to continuously look back and read and reread in order to make sure that I've checked off all my bases. And notice here as well that I use this chart that is given to me if I have extra time or as needed throughout the program, but I'm using this chart as kind of my check to make sure that I did everything that was needed in order to get the full points on this FRQ. All right, or at least that's my goal. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at the results that are provided. I think that, let's see if we go through question 1, question 2, let's see what they have come up with. Okay, so, right, let's compare my solution with College Board solution here. Right, so I have an addition instance variable, great. And they put in a parameter for the title, the price, and the addition. And yes, they called the super class constructor with the title and the price, and they set the addition as well. Okay, and then they have this getter method for the addition, and they return the addition. Good. And then they did it all in one big thing, in one big statement where they said return other.getTitle equals getTitle, where they're checking to see if the title of the other book is the same as our current book, and checking to see if addition is greater than or equal to the addition of the other. They did both of those things all in one line of code. I didn't want to do that just because I felt like the line of code was going to get kind of long, which it did. They had to break it up into 2 lines, but that's okay. It's not a big deal here. And then they return the result. Now, one benefit to this is that sometimes, I mean, it depends on you. I mean, you know yourself best, but sometimes this can be a little bit more, maybe less error prone just because everything is all in one line of code. But I'd say that this method of breaking down the individual parts into pieces like this can be a little bit more conducive to actually understanding what you're writing and why, and also explaining how the code works. And then get book info. Whoa, their get book info has a nothing on the inside. I wonder if this is a mistake. This has to be a mistake. I think it is. Hold on, let me look back. I think that's a mistake. Maybe I should contact College Board to let them know that this has to be a mistake. Let's see. Let's find out. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think that something just got omitted somewhere along the way. We'll figure that out here. Anyway. But yeah, this is how the scoring works. Yep. You get a point for saying class textbook extends book. Another point for declaring the constructor, calling the super constructor in the first line with the appropriate parameters, yes. Declaring the private instance variables, yes. Declaring at least one required method, and all declared headers are correct. Yeah, so I mean, notice here that you get a good chunk of the points without even kind of understanding what the body of the method should be. Get addition returns the value of the instance variable. Can substitute for, yep, also works. Well, I believe it works based off of my checking. But I did go through and do something that looks like everything that they're asking for. Get book info call super.getBookInfo. Yeah, and that's why I think that something is accidentally missing from here, because there's nothing here to say super.getBookInfo, but I did do that in my solution. I called super.getBookInfo. Yeah, and then I did concatenate on the addition as well. We have to concatenate on the addition for it to work. Constructs the information string. Yeah. Good. Yes. So you need the concatenation in order to, something has to be concatenated in order to construct this information string, and I believe that is still in reference to get book info, and I did do some concatenation here, adding together the info from the book and the info from the textbook. Woo! So it was all done.